Good evening and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being in this webinar. And in the course of the next 60 minutes, we are going to cover quite a number of things on focus and concentration. But before we get into that, I just want to know a little bit about each and every one of you. I am from Hyderabad. I'd like to know where you are from. So type in the chat where you are from. Arunachal Pradesh, Minnie from Arunachal Pradesh, Delhi, Patna, Hyderabad, Ranchi. And I'd like to see some answers from those watching on YouTube as well. Assam. Whoa, Gujarat. Wonderful, amazing. Isn't it amazing that we are connecting in this way, even though you are in your home and I am in my home? But technology is great, isn't it? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Now, I want to really acknowledge each and every one of you for being here in this webinar. And I know some of you may have already seen me before. So I want to know another question. I have another question. Is this the first time that you're seeing me, or have you seen me before? If yes, this is the first time that you're seeing me, click on the first option. And if you have already seen my previous webinars, click on the second option. Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I'll wait for 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, ending the poll. Okay. Wow, a good 81% are seeing me for the first time, and about 19% of the people are seeing me again. So welcome back for those who are seeing me. By the way, someone wrote in the chat, Srikant said, please increase the volume. Are you all, the rest of all, are you able to hear what I'm saying? If yes, just say yes in the chat so I know that you are able to hear me. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you all for acknowledging that. And I am really happy that you all have joined me, because I know you could have been doing any number of things at this hour at 9 o'clock on a Friday evening, but you have chosen to be in this webinar. And that really tells me something about you. It tells me that you are interested in investing your time in learning something that will take the quality of your life to the next level. And on my part, I am going to do my very best, everything in my hands, to ensure that the time that you spend, each and every minute that you spend here, is going to be well worth it. We are going to talk about focus and concentration. So for you to get the maximum benefit out of these 60 minutes, let me mention 3 things how you can get the maximum benefit. First, because we are talking on focus and concentration, I want you to be completely focused and concentrate on this webinar for the next 60 minutes without any distractions. And the second thing, engage with me. What I mean by engage is just like some of you engaged with me in typing in the chat or participating in the poll. From time to time I will be doing that, and we'll also go through a couple of guided experiences. So engage with me completely. And the third thing is stay with me until the very end. So if you do these 3 things, you are going to get the maximum benefit out of this webinar. So let us make a deal between you and I, even though I cannot see you, but I want to make a deal. If this is a deal, type D in the chat. Type D in the chat. I just want to see. Okay, type D in the chat. Okay, many of you are making a deal with me, and I am making a deal with you. Thank you all. Okay, great, thank you. All right, so right now I am going to enable only the host, me, to see the messages and not the others, so that you can stay focused. So I just want to ensure that. All right, very good. Now, let us see. We are talking about focus and concentration, right? Now, tell me, some of you, most of you may be in a career, maybe you're looking for that big jump in your career, maybe you are looking for a big jump in your financial life to improve your finances. So let us take profession. What is most important in your view? There are many factors for us to be successful in our profession. One is skill, one is knowledge, one is educational qualifications, contacts with others, many factors. In your opinion, what is the most important factor for you to make huge advances in your career? Type in the chat. I want to see building rapport. Yeah, type in the chat. Self-confidence. Great. Whatever comes to your mind, just one word or two words. What is most important in advancing in your career? Contacts with others, exceptional knowledge, self-esteem, knowledge of the industry, and wonderful. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing. Great. Positive thinking, not taking action. So, all right. Let me again put it back to the host. Okay. Now, all of you mentioned, many of you mentioned many different factors that are responsible for success in the workplace. But you know what the most important thing is? Yes, skill is necessary. Yes, knowledge is necessary. Yes, degrees are necessary. Yes, self-esteem, positive thinking, contacts with others. All of these are important factors. But what is the underlying bedrock for all of this? What is the most important thing? The most important thing is our ability to focus like a laser beam and concentrate. If we are able to do that, then our career and consequently our financial life will take a quantum leap. What do I mean by quantum leap? See, the growth paths for many people, it is either a linear path or it is a exponential path. Let me share the screen. How does a linear path look like, and how does okay, see this graph? The straight line is the linear growth, and the curved line is the exponential growth. Exponential growth is when there is a blast and we take quantum leaps. Quantum leaps are not linear steps. It is like many orders of magnitude better. And in order to be able to do that, the most important thing, yes, every other thing that you mentioned is necessary, but the most important thing is focus and concentration. And when we have focus and concentration, it is possible to really blast off, take off rocket and put yourself into a totally different orbit. You no longer will be on the near orbit, you will be in a far orbit, and that is what focus and concentration can do for us. But we need to really understand what is focus, what is concentration, and that is exactly what we are going to look at. Now, tell me, does this intrigue you? Do you want to take a quantum leap forward? If you want to take a quantum leap forward in your professional and financial life, and even your personal life, answer this poll, please. If you are want to take that quantum leap, click on the first option. Excuse me. And if you're satisfied, okay, linear path is okay for me, now click on the second option. And if you're not really sure what is Venkat talking about, what does quantum leap forward mean, what does linear path mean, if you're not sure, click on the third option. And even those on Facebook and YouTube, click on 1 or 2 or 3, or type in 1 or 2 or 3. Okay, let me end the poll, and let me share the results with you. Ending the poll right now and sharing the result. Okay, great. I am happy to hear that 84% of the people here want to take a quantum leap forward. A small minority, 2%, not linear path is okay, and I totally understand that. And about 15%, they're not yet sure, and we will go through that. So thank you all for sharing that. Great. So with that, let us look at, in order to take quantum leap, like I said, what is required is focus and concentration. Now, in order to do that, we all need to come onto the same page. What I mean by that is we need to have the same understanding of what it means when we say focus and what it means when we say concentration. So, what do I mean by focus and concentration? Focus is the ability for us to narrow down our attention to something. For example, in the graphic that you see on the left, we are narrowing down the dissipated sun rays into a single beam. That is focus. So, what does concentration mean? Concentration means that if we are able to maintain that focus uninterrupted until we finish a task, then that means that we have concentration. So even though you may hold a convex lens and focus the rays of the sun, if you do not maintain that long enough and you remove the convex lens, you have focused, but you have not concentrated. So is that I think we are all on the same page with respect to focus and concentration. Let me give another example. All of you right now, you are in this webinar, so you have focused, you have taken out time in the day to be in this webinar, so you are focused, so because you have come here, but for you to gain the full benefit, not just focus, you also need to concentrate. That is, you need to keep that sustained focus on whatever I'm sharing with you, and only then you will derive the maximum benefit. In other words, no distractions, and keep fully engaged and keep up the deal that we made earlier. So those with that common understanding of focus and concentration, let us delve a little bit more into that. So when we talk about focus and concentration, we also need to understand about a couple of other concepts. Where does focus and concentration arise from? And so the two things that we need to have a clear understanding, because if we want to learn something, we have to understand it. We understood focus and concentration, but there are many other levels. So the two other things that we need to understand are awareness and mind. Two important, very important things: awareness and mind. Of course, we all know what the mind is. Using our mind, we are doing all of our thinking and experiencing all of the emotions, and we all know that mind is a very powerful thing. Yes, all of that is very true, but there is what is called awareness. When I say awareness, let me tell you, let me ask you, are you in awareness? Do you know what your mind is thinking? Do you know? Is it possible for you to think, not think about, but for you to be in the knowledge of what your mind is thinking? Share in the chat. Let me open the chat for everyone. If it is possible for you to have the knowledge of what your mind is thinking, type yes in the chat, so I know that we are all on the same page. I want to sync up with you. I want you to sync with me as we proceed along. So great, a number of you are saying that it is possible for us to have knowledge about our own mind, right? Our own thoughts. Okay, thank you for sharing. Now, when that is the case, if you are aware of what your mind is thinking, who are you? If you have the knowledge of what your mind is thinking, who are you? That means that you are not the mind, right? Because you are able to see what the mind is thinking. You are able to observe the activities of the mind. So who are you? let let us actually delve into this a little bit further. Let us take a very simple sentence. I am talking to you. That is the sentence. I am talking to you. In this simple sentence, there is what is called the subject and the object. We may remember from our childhood English grammar classes that many sentences have a subject and an object. So in the sentence, I am talking to you, I am the subject and you are the object, because the object is something that is being acted upon and the subject is the one doing the action. Now, when we say that you are able to notice your mind, what is the subject and what is the object? The subject is you and the object is your mind, right? Now, clearly these two are different, which means to say that you are not your mind. We often identify ourselves with our mind. We identify ourselves with our thoughts. We identify ourselves with our emotions. But the very fact that you are able to observe your own mind, your own thoughts, your own emotions means that you are something different. And that different, that part of you is awareness. That is awareness. Very simple. So awareness is the subject, your mind is the object. So when I ask at a deeper level, who are you? Many people, how do they respond? My name is Venkat, or I am working as a whatever the job position is, or we identify ourselves with our family or our position or whatever. But at the core of it, and this is a very important thing for us to develop focus and attention, at the core of it, we are none of that. We are pure awareness, because we are able to stand apart from the mind and observe it, right? So that being the definition, so we now understand about focus, we now understand concentration, we now understand awareness, we now understand mind. But let me make a further distinction between awareness and mind. Let us say your mind, compare it to a huge mall. Let us just assume hypothetically for the moment that your mind is a huge mall which has different shops, right? And one shop may be selling happiness, another shop may be selling sadness, one shop may have memories of your graduation day, another may have memories of your some other important event in your life, or some shops are completely on the negative side of the spectrum, like guilt or shame or what have you, and some others are on the positive side, confidence. So just imagine that your mind is a huge mall, and you, the awareness, you, the shopper, can go from one shop to another, and depending upon the shop that you go to, that is the experience that you get, isn't it? So if you visit a shop full of joy, that is what you're getting. And similarly, if wherever you go, that is what you experience. So your awareness is exactly like that. Your awareness is traveling through the different parts of the mind, and wherever your awareness go to, whichever part of the mind that your awareness goes to, that is exactly what you experience. So that is the difference between awareness and mind. So how does awareness and mind relate to focus and concentration? Let us uh, look into that. For the next 60 seconds, follow my instructions so that we have a clearer understanding. You with me? Okay, great. So I want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes for the next 60 seconds. I want you to sit straight and sit comfortably, and become aware of my voice as I'm talking to you. Become aware of the chair that you're sitting in. Become aware of your body posture. Become aware of the room around you, the surroundings around you. Be in full awareness. Now, let us go on a journey. Let us go back to your experiences today. What was a good experience that you had in your mind's eye? See that. What was a good experience? What made you feel proud of yourself? What made you feel good about yourself? And in that moment, what were you doing? What were the clothes that you were wearing? Who was around you? Think about it. Now, go to another part of the day today, just today, where you did not have such a good experience, or you were not feeling good, or you were feeling low, and just observe what was your state of mind at that time. What were your emotions like? Were you angry, and were you agitated? Were you feeling sad at that low point of the day? Just observe, right? And now just visit what you were doing at, say, 12 o'clock or 4 o'clock. Pick a time, 12 o'clock or 4 o'clock. Just think in your mind, say, what were you doing at that time? How were you feeling? Okay, so now we have mentally traversed through 3 data points during the day today, right? Now, bring your awareness back to your surroundings. Still with your eyes closed, bring your awareness back to your surroundings, back to your body, back to your breath, and back to my voice. And now you can open your eyes. So, within 60 seconds, we visited a few stores in the mall, right? And that is where your awareness went. In other words, in your mind, you traveled to different regions. So now you know clearly what is the difference between awareness and mind, right? So how does this relate to concentration? and focus. Right now, you have given me permission, and thank you for giving me the permission for taking your awareness from one part of your mind to another part of your mind to another part of the mind. And we have done that consciously, right? You have given me permission to do that. But oftentimes, most of the time, what happens? Without us giving any permission, without us giving any conscious thought to it, we are allowing external events, other people, and the fluctuations in our own mind to dictate where we direct our attention to in our mind, and therefore we have absolutely no control over our emotions. We have no control over our thoughts. It just happens, and therefore the mind is in a very dissipated condition. But if you stand back and consciously take the decision to put your awareness at only one place in the mind with a conscious decision, that is when you start doing the getting the focus. And if you are able to sustain that awareness in a specific task that you are doing, or the area of the mind, that is when you would have achieved concentration. So with this understanding of focus, concentration, of awareness and mind, now let us actually get to understand. Okay, when you might be saying, okay, Venkat, okay, this is all good, yes, I understood a few terms now, but what does it mean to me? How can I really gain this skill of focus and concentration? Yes, that is exactly what we are going to talk about, but it is so important to have that underlying knowledge. So let me ask you this as we delve, remove one more layer around focus and concentration and start going at the core of it. Let me ask you a question. As you were growing up, many of you may have had the experience of your parents or your teachers telling you, hey, if you want to advance in life, concentrate, man. Or if you are a parent, you might even tell your children, concentrate so that you can come up in life. Let me launch a poll. Tell me through a poll, did your parents and teachers ask you to concentrate, or do you tell your children to concentrate? If yes, say yes. Click on the first option, or say no if it is the second. First or second. Okay, thank you all for sharing, and let me end the poll and share the results. Okay, a good 90% of you have been told by your parents or teachers to concentrate, or you tell your children to concentrate, and a minority, about 10%, said no. So that is good. So let me stop the sharing. Let me ask another related question. Have you formally learned how to focus and how to practice concentration? Have you formally learned how to focus and concentrate, and have you been practicing concentration? And so yes or no or somewhat, by formally learning and spending quite a bit of time in practicing concentration. Okay, let me end the poll, share the results. Okay, about 28% of the people here said that they have formally learned how to focus and concentrate, and congratulations. 52% said no, not really, and about 20% of people said somewhat. So thank you for all of your inputs. I appreciate that. Now, of course, a majority of the people, as we have seen, we do not have a formal training in how to focus and how to uh, practice concentration, isn't it? So if we are being told to focus and concentrate, but we have never learned it and we have never practiced it, how can we do that? So most important is for us to do two things. One, we have to learn about focus and concentration, and we just now started on that journey. But more importantly, we have to practice concentration. Lot of us, what do? We do not practice concentration. Our mind is distracted, our mind is dissipated. So what are we practicing? We are practicing not concentration but distraction. So you all know that whatever we practice, we get good at, right? So if we are going to practice concentration, we get good at concentration. If we practice distraction, we get good at distraction. That's why so many people are so easily distracted, and their mind is in a totally, completely dissipated state. Let us look at someone who has been in the news recently. You all recognize Neeraj Chopra, world champion of javelin. How do you think he became a world-class javelin player? He learned the skill and he practiced it, right? Learning and practicing. So these are the two essential things if we want to excel at anything. Now, similarly, for focus and concentration, we have to learn and practice focus and concentration. Earlier, we said that some of the things that are required for us to advance in our career, in our profession, and to go to that next level, to the ideal level financially, are several things like skill and knowledge or self-confidence. Everything, yes, totally correct. But the underlying base of it is our mind, right? If the mind is not stable, the skill will be of little use because the underlying base is not stable, and some of us experience that. It is very similar to, if the mind is not stable, it is like a turbulent sea, huge waves coming up and striking against, very heavy winds, hurricane like a thing. And in that kind of a turbulent environment, let us assume that your skill and everything else, the knowledge, the contacts that we have, whatever else, other factors, let us assume that it is a boat and the mind is this turbulent sea. Can the boat be stable? Can it reach its destination? No, right? But what if the waters are calm and your skills, your whatever other qualities that are required to advance in the profession, it goes a long way. That is what I mean by quantum leaps, when we are able to focus and concentrate for extended periods of time on one thing, on one goal, until that is achieved without any distractions. That is what is focus and concentration. Now, but how do we get there? How do we, this is all theory, but, so many people, they write to me, I'm so easily distracted. Yes, I understand that. And for that, we need to delve a little bit more into this. So we will learn some practical skills, but let me engage with you. Let me go back to the deal that we have made at the beginning, and I want to ask you, are you with me so far? Are you engaged, focused, and concentrating in this webinar? Yes. Some of you are saying yes fully, some of you are saying partially, and great. Thank you. Thank you for all of your responses. Let me end the poll and let me share the results. 64% of you are engaging, are saying you are engaged, focused, and concentrating on this webinar. Congratulations. 36% partially. I totally understand that, and I'm glad that none of you said not at all. But I also want to tell you this. Do you know what the percentage of people who participated in this poll is? 51% only. So out of the 51% of people who have participated in this poll, 64% have are concentrating fully, 36 partially, but 49% people did not participate in this poll, which means that they are not engaging. And to all of you who are not engaging, let me just say, come on, let us go on this journey, engage with me fully. So I'm going to share many things that are going to help each and every one of us. So let me stop the sharing. All right, okay, great. Now let us go into a little bit depth about understanding about the mind, so that we gain the insights. And we are not just going to talk about theoretical knowledge, because I am also going to take you through some practices of how to gain more focus and more concentration, and we will see exactly what you need to do to gain that unprecedented, unflickering focus and concentration, so that you can take those quantum leaps that you are looking for. But let us gain a little bit more understanding, because you know what? Remember when you buy a new gadget, or when you buy a new computer, for example, or something, a new wonderful phone, what does it come with? It comes with a user manual. And if it happens that this is the first time that we are getting that particular gadget, and we are very excited and proud to have that gadget, what do? We go through the pages of the instruction manual. We understand about how to operate that gadget, so that we can be in control of that gadget, isn't it? Now, our mind is the most sophisticated mechanism in the whole wide world. It is the most evolved, most wonderfully engineered gadget, if you will, although we should not use the term. Tell me if you agree with me. Type yes in the chat if you agree with me that our mind is much more powerful, orders of magnitude sophisticated than any gadget that you can think of. And thank you, so many people are saying yes, and I agree with you. All right, let me just put the chat on hosts and panelists only. Okay, great. So for a gadget like your phone or your computer, there is a user manual. But here we are, we have this mind, amazing mind, we have this amazing body, and we have discovered at the beginning of this webinar that we are not this body, we are not this mind, we are what? Awareness, right? So to us, this mind and this body are just instruments, gadgets, just like your iPhone is your gadget for you, or your laptop is your gadget for you. This mind and this body, we are not this mind, we are not this body. So shouldn't it be the case that this mind also comes with a operating manual so that we gain more control, just like we gain control over that gadget, powerful gadget of ours. Shouldn't this mind come with a operating manual so that we can gain complete control over that? Because when we gain control over the mind, there is nothing that is impossible. You can go wherever you want. That is the way universe has designed. Fortunately, there is a manual. What is that manual? We come from a proud tradition which originated the yogic sciences in our um, culture, right? And that is a in-depth user manual about our mind, about everything there is to know. And if we only use the principles, we do not need to go very deep into studying all of that, but if we just understand the basic principles enunciated by the yogic sciences, then we gain a better understanding and we gain a better control over our body and mind, right? So what does yogic science tell? It talks about 5 states of mind. What are the 5 states? Each and every one of us is in one of these 5 states of mind. I do not want you to share with me what state of mind you are in, but I'll be more than happy to share some of the states of mind that I have experienced. Hopefully, that you may relate to my experiences or maybe not. So, what are the 5 states of mind? The first state of mind is called Mudha. Mudha. It is a dull, tamasic state where the mind doesn't want to move at all. It is in a stage of inertia, a laziness, and this state of mind doesn't get us anywhere. That is the first state of mind. And in my life, I personally have experienced this state of mind for extended periods of time, where I was totally like down in the dumps. Those of you who heard my story in the previous webinars, you know that I worked in the software engineering field. I was a software engineer for 18 years. I worked in California. I worked in high-tech companies. One of my job positions was at Sun Microsystems, where I was a member of the team that created and developed the Java programming language. So I come from that background. So from 87 to 2005, I was in that line of work in the high tech as a software engineer. But I left my career at the peak of my career. I left my profession, and became a full-time student of spirituality. So I have been in both the corporate world and a full-time student of spirituality. But the reason I bring that up is that during my journey, I have experienced this state of mind, this dull tamasic state. Even though from the outside it appeared that I was having some successes, but still I was going through those low points, totally down, total depression. Depression almost destroyed me, debilitated me. And when we go through many worries, stresses, anxieties, we are in this, unfortunately, this dull tamasic state, right? The second state of mind is kshipta. In this state of mind, in this state, we are very restless, and the mind is distracted. It is out of control. We are thinking about so many things. We are no longer in control of our thoughts. We are no longer in control of our emotions. It is like it is almost like we have a attention deficit, right? These days, what is becoming very popular in the West and probably even in India, ADHD or ADD, attention deficit disorder, and people are being given drugs to treat those conditions. Wow, not good at all, right? So That is the Kshipta state of mind. And I have been through this Kshipta state of mind as well, very restless and not knowing, not being in my awareness, not being in my awareness, and letting the mind be totally out of control. When the mind is out of control, what happens? Our life goes out of control, right? The third state of mind is Vikshipta. Vikshipta is the state of mind, and as we are going through these various states of mind, we are coming to finer and finer levels of the state of mind. Vikshipta is when we are preoccupied with something, when there is one single thing, and even when we sleep, or even when we eat, or even when during everything, our mind is preoccupied on one single thing. And this is a state of mind that really that is much better than the previous two states. It gets us somewhere because we are the mind is constantly thinking, and hopefully whatever we are thinking about is something positive, because you know what, many of us, we can be in the vikshipta state and still go down the drain, because whatever you are thinking, if we are preoccupied with that huge worry, if we are preoccupied thinking about that problem, we are preoccupied with those worries and anxieties, or how this person has not been good to me, and if we are preoccupied with anger, it is also a state of vikshipta, but takes us down. Now, Vikshipta is a state where many philosophers, many painters, they are in this state of mind in order to create beautiful works of art and poetry or what have you. So, Vikshipta is a good state, but we need to make sure that we use it judicially, not be preoccupied with something that takes us in the negative direction, because it can easily kick us back to kshipta state. It can kick us back to muda state. Don't ever assume that once we achieve a state of mind that we stay in that state of mind. The state of mind constantly changes. Yeah, so we can ascend to a certain level and then fall back. Entirely possible. So that is the third state of mind. The fourth state of mind is ekagra, where the mind doesn't budge from the subject. It is totally, completely focused on. These days, from the West or from Japan, they talk about the state of flow, and this is really the state of flow. And our yogic sciences have enunciated all of this thousands of years ago. Ekagra is the state of mind where we are single goaled, and the fifth state of mind is niruddha, where the mind is completely mastered and it is totally restrained. So these are the 5 states of mind. But what does it mean for us? For us to have focus and concentration, learning how to focus and concentrate, and more importantly, practicing focus and concentration will take us to the states of ekagra and perhaps even niruddha, but mostly ekagra. And that is the state of mind that we want to be in, isn't it? I think many of you would definitely know the story from Mahabharata, where when the Pandavas and the Kauravas, they were children and they were learning under their guru Dronacharya, who was teaching them archery, right? So the 100 Kauravas and the 5 Pandavas, he gathered them. It was a contest kind of a thing. And the contest is whoever shoots the arrow and hits the eye of the bird, a stuffed bird, he is the winner, right? So Guru Dronacharya calls students one after another, and they take position. They um, draw the string of the bow, and they are looking at the bird. And Dronacharya asks the question, "Okay, tell me, what do you see?" So people came, each one said, "Oh, I see the bird, I see the leaves of the tree, I see the branches, what do you hear? I hear so many sounds." And Dronacharya would not even let that student release the arrow. He said, "Okay, move away," and then calls another, and that guy says, "Oh, I see the sky, I see this, everything. No, don't even shoot the arrow." And finally, even the four Pandavas are also, they are able to at least not see everything, but they say, "Okay, I see the bird only." But still, Dronacharya disqualifies them. And finally, Arjuna is called, and the same question is asked of Arjuna, and Arjuna says, he is asked, "What do you see?" He says, "I see the eye of the bird." "What else do you see?" "What do you mean, what else I see?" "I see nothing. I only see the eye of the bird." "What do you hear?" "Except your voice, nothing. Only the eye of the bird." And that's when Dronacharya gives Arjuna the permission to release the bow, and it goes and hits the eye. So that is the state of Ekagra. Is it only Arjuna who can reach that state? No. Each one of us, you and I, can reach that state of Ekagra and even higher if we learn how to focus, if we learn how to practice concentration, we can reach there. And when we do that, we are a much more fulfilled being. We can really reach heights that we never thought possible previously. So these are the 5 states of mind. And how do we actually reach there? How do we get there? So like I said, it is not just theory. We also need to know exactly how to reach that state. So what are the things that we can do on an everyday basis? And immediately after this, I will actually take you through a very small interactive exercise that hopefully you can apply in your everyday basis. So let us look into how we can learn how to focus and concentrate. Are you all with me so far? Let me just engage you, opening the chat. If you are all with me, type yes in the chat. Type yes in the chat if you are with me. Venkat, I am still with you. I am still with you. Thank you. Thank you all for your acknowledgement. And I see from um, YouTube and Facebook also. Thank you all so much. I so much appreciate what you're sharing. Great. Let me just, so that you do not get distracted, I am going to let only me see the messages, and even I will not see the messages because I can get distracted. All right. So let us look at how we learn how to focus and concentrate. The very first thing is make sure that you have a regulated lifestyle. Very important. I mean, we often discount that. We discount the importance of sleeping at a proper time, eating at a proper time, and having a generally structured lifestyle, because that makes a huge difference. So something that you can put into practice right away. The second thing is make sure that you are doing only one thing at a time and remove distractions. When I say remove distractions, for example, make sure that okay, let me let me actually stop the share and launch a poll, so that I get a little bit of insight. Okay, I'm launching a A/B poll. Tell me if you are responding to your gadgets, to messages as they come, to emails as they come, to calls as they come. Click on the first option. In other words, we are in a reactive mode. But if you have only fixed times during the day in which you are checking your messages, but the rest of the time you are not, then click on B, A or B, A or B, A or B. I will wait for 5 more seconds, A or B. Okay, I am ending the poll and sharing the results. About 72% said A, which means that we are interrupt driven. That is being interrupt driven, and a minority of the people fortunately are not interrupt driven. They are consciously driving the thing. So when we are interrupt driven, when we allow ourselves to be interrupt driven, we are having many distractions. So this is a very simple thing that we can do, right? Do only one thing at a time. Remove the distractions. The third thing is to establish what is called Pratipaksha Bhavana. Pratipaksha Bhavana means, and this is something, these are simple things that you can adopt right away. Pratipaksha Bhavana. Pratipaksha means, opposing Bhavana, thought, opposing thought. So whenever you become aware that, hey, my mind is thinking something negative, and not, I mean, because we all have that conscience, we all have that awareness. We know, we can, because we are able to observe our mind, we know when it is going in the feeling down or depressed or what have you, and in that moment you bring the opposing thought into the mind. When you bring the opposing thought, see, the mind cannot entertain two contrary thoughts at the same time, so you are consciously replacing that and replacing it with another, so that helps with your focus and concentration. So these are simple things. Now, of course, if you can practice yogasanas, that really improves your focus and concentration very much. Practice the traditional yogasanas. These days there are variants like power yoga and all of that. I will not even go into that, but practice the traditional yogasanas which preserve the sanctity of that. This conscious breathing is a huge help in developing focus and concentration. Conscious breathing or pranayama, and I talk about that in a different webinar, and I will invite you to that webinar. Hopefully I will do it sometime next week, but this one practice makes a whole world of difference. Why? Because conscious breathing or pranayama and focus and concentration are directly related to each other. If you practice pranayama, if you practice conscious breathing, you are automatically changing the patterns of your brain, changing the neural networks in the brain, and affecting many things, and we develop a unprecedented focus. So that is one way. And meditation, of course, is a huge help in developing focus and concentration, because in meditation, we remember we have to practice concentration, we have to practice focus, and meditation is exactly that, where we are bringing the mind to a single point and maintaining it there. So these are the 6 ways in which we can learn and practice focus and concentration. And you know what? Every activity that you do, if you do that in mindfulness, if you do that in mindfulness, let me stop the share, then you will be practicing concentration. For example, take a simple activity that you're doing, whether it is a routine activity like getting ready for work or brushing your teeth or drinking a cup of coffee. Just do it mindfully. Just be aware of the activity that you're doing, and if the awareness, the mind runs away, bring it back. Mind runs away, bring it back. Even if it is 100,000 times, do it. So even while drinking a cup of coffee, even while doing, talking to a loved one, oftentimes we are talking to someone and we are looking at the phone. Life offers us moments of practice every waking hour, right? So we can practice focus, and we can practice concentration. So I want to give a very simple practice. So let us go through a small breath practice, and I will practice it for only 3 or 4 minutes, so that you can figure out the difference, the effect of how breath affects our focus. So are you ready to go into a practice? Type yes in the chat so that you and I are engaged, so I don't keep talking. I want you to also talk back to me. So great, thank you. Okay, good. I am happy to see many of you are very actively participating today. Very happy to see that. Okay, so let us get into the practice right away. This practice is called box breathing. Box breathing, where actually this is a practice that is used in the army in high stress conditions, where people have to diffuse very stressful situations. They are taught this particular practice of box breathing to immediately improve their focus, immediately reduce stress, and really concentrate on the task, because they are in such a precarious condition. Unless the moment they lose, you and I are fortunate that we are living in a peaceful place relatively, but army people, they are living in conditions of high danger. So they are taught, elite commandos and people like that, they're taught this practice of box breathing. In box breathing, what we do, it just takes 2 or 3 minutes. All we need to do is close the eyes. In the mind's eye, visualize a square, perfect square, and in the mind's eye, start at the lower left corner, and as we inhale, in the mind's eye, traverse up on the left vertical line, and then we retain the air for some time, and while doing the retention, traverse the horizontal line to the right, and then exhale, traverse the line to the bottom right vertically. And then after we exhale, we don't immediately start the inhalation, we let the air stay out, and then we go to the left while the air stays out, and then that process is remains. So in other words, you're locking your mind in the box, and you're only focusing on that with the breath. That is a practice that helps. So let us take 2 or 3 minutes. I know we are already a little bit over time, but hopefully you're all finding this subject interesting, and I'm finding it very interesting to share with you. So let us actually take 3 minutes to do the practice. Yes? Okay, great. So what I want you to do, like before, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Sit straight. Make sure that your body is relaxed. And with your eyes closed, imagine a square, a perfect square in your mind's eye. And we will do the inhalation, retention, exhalation, and external retention. I will use the term sustain for that for 4 seconds each. So all of us should be able to do that. And I will do the counting like Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. And I will prompt you when to inhale, retain, I will say exhale. And for the external retention, I will use the term sustain. Clear? All right, so keep looking at that square in your mind's eye and bring your mind to the lower left corner and inhale, traverse up, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Retain the air in, traverse right, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, traverse down, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Sustain, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Back to the starting point. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Retain to the right, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale down, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Sustain to the left, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Retain, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Sustain, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Retain, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Sustain, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Last round. Inhale, up, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Retain to the right, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale to down, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Sustain to the left, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Keep your eyes closed for a few seconds. Be in the body with full focus on your body. All right, and whenever you're ready, gently open your eyes. When we practice it with focus, with intent, that immediately helps us concentrate, because you are in this process. What are you doing? You're practicing concentration, right? Let me ask you through a poll, how are you feeling after this box breathing practice? Do you feel more focused, calmer, and more relaxed? Click on A. If it made no difference, click on B. If you couldn't do the practice, C. A or B or C. Great. Let me end the poll. And let me share the result. 75% of you said you're feeling more focused, calmer, and more relaxed. Made no difference to about 4% of the people, and about 22% could not do the practice, and that's fine. But the takeaway is 3/4 of you felt the immediate difference after just 3 or 4 minutes of practice, isn't it? So now there are so many other things that we can do in order to enhance our levels of focus and concentration, and the only way is really by doing it, by mastering these holistic practices in the 6 or 7 things that I mentioned that you could do. What gives you the most boost is if you're able to practice those, do those holistic practices. When you do those holistic practices of conscious breathing, of meditation, of mindfulness, of yogasanas, that is the one single thing that takes you, remember that exponential going up, right? That's where we can go. Now, obviously, I cannot teach all of that. I cannot talk about all of that. It requires practice. It requires quite a bit of dedication. And for that, I am really happy to offer to everyone in the program today a 7-day program, a live 7-day program with me. Where we meet for an hour every single day, and I will take you through many of these practices and techniques. Right now, I'm not able to see you. You are able to see me, but during the 7-day program of 1 hour each, I will be able to see you. We'll be talking face to face, and I will share with you all of the distilled knowledge. I have been, like I said, I've been in the corporate world and in the spiritual world, so I know two sides of the coins, and I have distilled them, the essential practices that you can immediately apply in your life so that you have a good focus and concentration. Go through the practices, and in the process you will have a healthier body and a healthier mind and a healthier soul. So let me share about that program, because remember, let us go all the way back to the beginning of this webinar, when many of you said, yes, Venkat, I am interested in taking that quantum leap. Well, yes, I I want you to take that quantum leap, and I want you to join with me, because we are going to learn many skills of focus and concentration. But not just that, we are actually going to practice that, so that at the end of the 7 days you have at least a few tools in your pocket that you can start employing. Yeah? So the 7-day program is, let me share the screen. Is called Yogic Breath for healthy body, mind, and soul. Yogic breath for a healthy body, mind, and soul. Uh, and because it derives from the yogic sciences, and we can apply those principles. Remember the user manual that we were talking about? Yes, so we can apply all of those principles here. So before I share about my 7-day program, let me share a testimonial that I received, and I was so elated. This one comes from a cardiologist, a practicing cardiologist who has been practicing for the last 41 years. He recently took my 7-day program. And he said, after taking Venkatrao's yogic breath program, I realized that conscious breathing is one of the most important skills for our emotional stability. Without emotional stability, it is not possible to avoid lifestyle diseases. Venkatrao is skilled in imparting holistic practices that are helping me at a deeper level. I had a positive experience and recommend his program to everyone. And Dr. Atul Shah, thank you for sharing that. I'm really elated to have received this testimonial from an authority such as a practicing cardiologist for 41 years. So I just wanted to share that. And so what is included in the program? Here is what is included. It is a 7-day program. It is a live meeting for 1 hour every single day from 6:45 to 7:45. So it starts on a Monday, ends on a Sunday. And there is a batch that is starting on 1st of November and another on the 15th of November. 1st of November is what? Another 3 days away, and 15th of November. So these two batches, and whatever is convenient for you, you can enroll. There is also going to be a preparatory onboarding live session 2 days prior at 8 p.m. So for the batch that is starting on the 1st of November, we are going to meet tomorrow at 8 p.m. live, where we'll see each other face to face, and we will go through how to derive, to go through that 7-day program and to derive the maximum benefit. You need to go through a little bit of preparation, know what to expect, how to prepare your body and mind so that you derive the maximum benefit. So we'll talk, it's like an orientation program, a onboarding session. So that is what we'll be covering 2 days prior to the start of the program. And you will also be part of a WhatsApp group that is very specific to the batch, and this is so that you can interact with me. Of course, you can interact with me during the live classes sessions, but offline also you can interact with me. I will be giving you certain practices, certain assignments, and in the WhatsApp group, back to our elementary school days, you submit your assignments about whether you were able to follow through, because unless we follow through something, it doesn't give us any benefit, right? So I'll make sure that it is structured in such a way that you derive the maximum benefit from this program. And it requires a two types of investment. One type of investment is what I just talked about, spending 1 hour every single day with me one-on-one in the group, and following through some offline assignments which only take 5 minutes a day, 7 minutes a day. Not much. Let not assignments scare you, right? So that is the first investment. And the second investment is translated in terms of money. I firmly, sincerely, from my heart believe that this program is invaluable. We cannot really put a money value to that, but we have to, in order to really enter into a relationship. And I want this program to be accessible to as many people as possible, because I am teaching the most essential skills that are required to have a healthy body, a healthy mind, and a healthy soul, and to develop that focus, to that concentration, these internal skills that really make that inside out transformation. And for that, the investment, I have kept it at a modest 750 rupees for the 1 week program. And I'm calling it as an investment and not as an expense, because that is what it really is. You are investing a small sum of money in order to gain that exponential results, right? You not only develop focus and concentration, but you also have a healthy body, mind, and soul. And in just a couple of minutes, I will talk about exactly what you are going to learn in these 7 days. I will cover that in detail, but let me actually share with you. So the investment is 750 rupees, and let me share the links how you can join. Like I said, there are 2 batches. So here is the link, InstaMojo link for joining the November 1st to 7th batch, and I'm going to put that in YouTube and Facebook also. Yes, I see your question from Facebook. Okay, here is the link for the 7-day session for November 1 to 7. And let me share the link for the November 15th to 21st batch. 15th to 21st batch. Here is the InstaMojo link. So, and let me share that by the way, those who are on Facebook or YouTube, can you send a yes message so that I know that you have seen this link? Okay. And also in the Zoom chat, if you can see the links, just type yes so I know that you have seen the link. Okay, great. That's enough. Good. Great. Thank you. And I will address each and every question. I will address each and every question. Make sure you send your questions in the chat to me. And I also see some questions coming from Facebook from Jeet. And I will address each and every question in just a few minutes. So those are the two links, and feel free to send in your questions while I cover what is it that we are going to learn and practice in these 7 days. All right. All right. So let me go back and let me actually share a testimonial. Many of you would be familiar with Praveen Vadalkar. He is currently my mentor. He has been helping me uh, bring myself out to talk to people in webinars such as this, and he has taken my program. I'm proud to say that he and I spent quite a bit of time, and his first-hand experience was after taking Venkat's Yogic Breath program, I have an increased focus and energy. My empty mind chatter has stopped, and I feel a deeper connection with my inner self. I now have more time because I look forward to waking up early every day to do my sadhana. Thank you so much, Praveen, for that testimonial. It always makes me happy whenever people share with me that what I am sharing with them is helping them in their everyday life, and I'm really happy to do that. So the links now, we need to respect time, and I will end this webinar in exactly 20 minutes. 20 minutes we are going to close. So this is the window of opportunity for you to make the invest in yourself. And for those of you who want to make the payment through Google Pay or Paytm, I mean, of course, when you go to the Instamojo link, it gives you a option to make that payment. But if you want to do it explicitly, let me share that link also. So here is the telephone number. Make sure you note down this telephone number. Here are the QR codes, and this is available only in the live webinar. So make sure if you make a payment through Instamojo, you will get an auto reply back which contains the details of the Zoom session, how to join in the WhatsApp group, everything. But if you make the payment through this, you will not get a auto reply, but we will make sure that the information is sent to you. The only thing that I ask you is, when you make the payment through these links, through Google Pay or Paytm, take a screenshot of your payment and send a WhatsApp message to the telephone number that you're seeing on the screen. Make sure you note it down, and you indicate whether you want to join the November 1 to 7 batch, or whether you want to join the November 15th to 21st batch. So that way we do not miss anyone. So I hope you have taken this down or scanned, and with that, let me actually share with you what you will learn and what you will practice, and I will come to everyone's questions. I see quite a number of questions coming in. I acknowledge that. So be with me, and I will answer each and every question, but I want you all to know uh, hey, when I joined this 7-day program and I'm making an investment of 750 rupees and 7 days of live training with Venkat, but how is it going to help me? What am I going to learn? Yes, I would have those questions if I were you. So I want to address those questions in your mind right away. And once I go through that, uh, I will answer each and every question that I have received in the chat. So uh, again, let me remind you that we are on a clock now, and I have shared with you the links. Let me share the links one more time. Here is the link for the November 15th to 21st batch, the Instamojo link. And uh, let me share the link for the November 1 to 7. Okay, here is the link for the November 1st to 7th. The most convenient if you pay by Instamojo because you get a auto reply back. But okay, so with that said, let us look at what we are going to learn during the 7 days. We are going to learn the essential conscious breathing practices for a healthy body, mind, and soul. And like I was mentioning earlier, conscious breath has a direct impact on our focus and on our concentration. Direct. We are going to I'm going to spend quite a bit of time in making sure that the foundational and incremental building blocks are in place, because I do not want you to build a superstructure without having the proper foundation. And uh, in that sense, I'm kind of a purist. I just want to make sure that things are taught in the right way, that they're practiced in the right way for us to gain full benefit. Because oftentimes I see people go to YouTube, learn a practice and try to adopt that practice, but there is no base to doing that practice, and I will help you build that base. And we are going to predominantly focus on practice, and that is exactly what is needed to develop focus and concentration. Practice, and we are going to practice quite a bit. But is conscious breathing the only thing that you're going to learn in the 7 days? No. Remember when I said what are all the things that will help us develop that unflickering focus and concentration? There were 3 or 4 things, 7 or 8 things, but 3 or 4 out of them were conscious breathing, meditation, mindfulness, and conscious relaxation. So I am happy to offer bonuses to you when you join this program. Not only you will learn conscious breathing practices, but I will take you through a very effective meditation practice, a step-by-step incremental meditation practice that you can adapt. At the end of 7 days. You will have that practice, and this meditation practice helps you so much in your focus and your concentration. We are actually going to spend time every single day during the 7 days in practicing meditation. So we will go through that process. And in addition to conscious breathing and meditation, we are also going to learn the art of proper relaxation, because unless we know how to purposefully relax this body and relax this mind, it will be like that turbulent ocean that we saw, and we need to know how to learn how to relax it. So we will go through that. And we are also going to practice mindfulness being the art of being completely present and in full awareness. Remember, we were talking about awareness, to be completely present in whatever activity that you're doing. So that way, you will be able to practice concentration in every activity. So this is what we will learn. So when you combine all of these holistic practices, when you combine conscious breathing with meditation, with conscious relaxation, and with mindfulness, that is forming a pretty solid base for us to have a healthy body, a healthy breath, healing ourselves of our any kind of imbalances or illnesses in the body, in the mind, in the soul, and developing that unflickering focus and concentration. So this is what the program is. So you get 7 days of live training, 1 hour every day, live onboarding session, and access to a WhatsApp group, and you learn conscious breath practices and a deep meditation, proper relaxation, practice of mindfulness. In 7 days, we will, to the best of our ability, we will cover that, all for a modest investment of 750 rupees. The links are in your chat window. I want you to join this journey with me. It is a transformational journey. It is going to be an inner transformational journey. Come, invite. I am really looking forward to seeing you in the 7-day program. So with that, let me now come to answering many of the to the best of my ability, I will answer the questions that I have received in the time that we have. Let me remind you that we are having only another 12 minutes in our webinar. So make your decisions right now as you're making your decisions and as you're preparing for this investment. Let me address the question. Okay, Yash, I'll go in the, I'll start answering from the first one. The question from Yash is to explain Pratipaksha Bhavana. Pratipaksha Bhavana, yes, okay, I'm happy to explain that. See, Pratipaksha Bhavana means opposing thought. So we have seen that, hey, it is possible for me to observe my own thoughts. So in that awareness, I'm observing. If I'm able to observe that my mind is going through a negative pattern of thought, and we are slaves to patterns of thinking, right? If it is going through a negative emotion, or it is going through some kind of a compulsive pattern of thinking or behavior, we need to plant the opposite, bring the opposite thought, the opposite emotion, the opposite feeling into the mind. So for example, if you're feeling very angry, but you're aware that you're angry, and in that awareness you know that that state of mind is not serving you. Or for example, if you know that you're stressed out, but in your awareness you know that, hey, I'm getting stressed out and that state of mind is not serving me, intentionally, consciously plant the exact opposite to that. So for example, if you are feeling stressed out, you in your mind, you say, even if you don't believe it, you just say in that moment that I am feeling relaxed, I am feeling calm. And then there are some breath practices also that we can do, and in the 7-day program we are going to talk about that. But you're essentially, what you're doing, you're planting that opposite. For example, if you're angry, you can plant from your awareness that I am peaceful. So when you do that, what happens? See, the mind cannot entertain two conflicting thoughts at the same time. Either that gives in or you give in, and oftentimes we give in. We do not even forget about planting a conscious opposite thought. We just get carried away with that emotion, and our reaction is accordingly. But that is Pratipaksha Bhavana. So hope that answers your question. Let me answer some other questions that have come. So that question was from Yash. Now, Nitin Pawar is asking how to make mind completely fearless while doing anything, example, English speaking or public speaking. So understand, Nitin, what is fear? There is a very simple expansion of fear where some people define it as false evidence appearing real, but no, it really doesn't help us to go through those that kind of a definition. We really need to understand what fear is. Fear is also an emotion, isn't it? Just like any other emotion, happiness is an emotion, joy is an emotion, sadness is an emotion, anger is an emotion, guilt is an emotion, fear is also an emotion. So why do you want to take a retail approach at conquering fear when you can conquer wholesale approach of conquering many other things, right? So uh, fear is an emotion. We can stand apart from fear and we can be in awareness of the fear. So remember that subject object. So fear or the mind being in a fearful state or experiencing that emotion of fear is the object, and you, which is pure awareness, is the subject. So realize that fear is here in the object, whereas you, in your awareness, is the subject. So you are not experiencing fear, right? So even though you are actually experiencing fear, yes, of course you will experience fear, but it is possible to stand apart from that and observe. And in that part of the observer part of you, the awareness part of you is fearless, completely fearless. And the more you come into awareness, the more you come into touch with that observer part of yourself, the more fearless you will become. It is a natural state. You are going to return yourself back to the natural state. So I hope that addressed the question. We are about 6 or 7 minutes. Let me address a few other questions. I thought I saw someone ask me a question about smoking. I'm trying to go. Was it in Facebook? Okay, so from Facebook, you are asking, here is the link for the November 1 to 7 from Facebook users. Can you please type yes if you have seen this link? Please, I want to know, because you have explicitly put the message saying that you cannot see the link, and I have put the link and it is on Facebook and on YouTube. Uh, so, okay, Jeet. Jeet is saying, sir, is it beneficial for smoker who currently quit smoking? And from Facebook, Jeet is asking. And okay, great. First of Jeet, thank you for acknowledging. Hey, Jeet from Facebook is saying that he has seen the link, and you are saying that you didn't find. So, Jeet, can you just type in a message about where to find that link so that the other user can um, find the link, since you are able to see? Okay, so let me address your question, Jeet. Yes, of course, it is going to be beneficial for anyone and everyone, even if you have quit smoking recently. All the better that you start, you know, giving a much healthier outlook to your lungs. So it is definitely beneficial, absolutely. And since you have mentioned that you have quit smoking, I want to congratulate you that um, I want to congratulate you that you have quit smoking. So let me address other questions that I have received, and hopefully I will address. Okay, yes, thank you. Um, and let me address. By the way, those of you who have enrolled in the program, can you type a I in the chat so I know who is enrolling, and I will wait to see you. So type I in the chat if you have enrolled in the program. And even on Facebook, if you have enrolled in the program, type NI, and I appreciate that. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. We are going to we are going to end the webinar in the next 5 minutes. If you are having any difficulties or anything, just let me know in the chat and I'll make sure it is addressed. And um, those of you who are present who are in the process, if you have already made the purchase, just type a I in the chat so I know. Okay, let me go back to any other. Okay, thanks. I appreciate that response. Yeah, yeah. And I will watch out for those of you who are on YouTube also. Oops. Okay, thank you, Jeet, so much for explaining how to get the link. So click on the video. In the comments, you will find the link. So for those on Facebook, click on the video, and in the comments, you will find the link. And okay, all right. Okay, and any other questions? I am trying to scroll back to make sure that I do not miss anything. SRK, by the way, thank you so much for your kind comment. I appreciate that. If you're still here, just say yes in the chat. I want to thank you for your kind comment. That helps me very much. Okay. All right. So we are just 2 or 3 more minutes away. Suyog, you have your question. Mostly your distractions are because of your smartphone. I totally understand that. Should technology in itself is neutral. Some people say, hey, because of this technology, it is making me go haywire or distracted. But technology is just a tool. It is how we use technology, whether we are using it to our advantage and or whether technology is using us. And that is exactly what all these social media are doing, because they want to grab our attention, and and we become quote unquote addicted, and we want that dopamine rush in that, and whenever we see someone liking our post and responding to our picture, and we are waiting for that, and that gives us that temporary thing. But should we really waste these precious mental resources on that? Wouldn't it be so much? I'm not even trying to suggest that you should not be on social media or what have you. Use technology to your advantage, and you will be in command as opposed to technology being in command of you. So, all right, let me see. All right. So we have just 2 more minutes. Yash, to the best of my ability, I will answer the question. If we are awareness, then how can we differ ourselves from our mind? That is a good question. It requires a more detailed explanation, but awareness or the higher consciousness or the spirit has manifested itself in this body, in this mind is only an instrument. If we identify ourselves with the mind, we are really saying to ourselves that hey, I am my emotions, I am my thoughts, I am my whatever impulsive reactions that come out of the organ of the mind. Whereas when you go into awareness, so think of it this way: awareness, mind is the bedrock, and awareness is where you are traversing in that platform. So you are not your mind, you are not your body. We are simply pure awareness. We are that Atman. That doesn't mean that we cannot live in this ordinary life. Don't think that we when we talk about that aspect of spirituality, that we cannot be involved in everyday life. We can be in the midst of everyday life and do what we are supposed to do, and do it even more better, whether it is trying to advance in the career, or financial life, or improve our personal life, whatever. But still be in that awareness that hey, I am only this body, and this mind are the instruments through which a particular act is being carried out. And the more we distance ourselves from that, the more of an expanded consciousness we will experience, and more joy, more bliss that we can experience. So in just the limited time I hope I have been able to address that, Yash. Any other questions? Any other questions? Any other things? Okay, so let me just go to great. Okay, I am going to end the webinar, and oh, thank you for your kind comment, Yash, that you are becoming my fan. I hope to see you in the class. Uh, and So I am going to end the webinar. So for those of you who have joined this 7-day program, I heartily welcome you. You have made the right investment, and in terms of your time and money. And for those of you who have decided that those of you who have decided not to join the program, my best wishes are with you. I hope that you take some of the knowledge and the practices that you have learned today and apply in your everyday life, so that you can gain much more out of it. So to each and every one of you, we have spent the last 1 hour and 45 minutes. Thank you for spending the time with me. I am wishing you to have a good night and have a great life. Thank you all so much. Namaste.